So welcome back to the Tegiwa YouTube channel. Today we've got Andy Frost, aka ICEMAN, aka IceFab, joining us, part of the Tegiwa Racing Drift team alongside Biz, and brought your 1JZ S14 down to us today for a feature. So
that's it, yeah.
We're going to have a look around it, see what power making, different bits that you've got on. But first and foremost, talk to me about how you got into drifting and how you ended up with this car.
So brief rundown. Probably been in drifting for 8 years, competitive 6/7. Had a little bit of break in between. As I say, the break in between, I kind of like concentrated on IceFab and built the business up a little bit. Very much it was quite sad building everybody else's race cars, and I'm feeling like, I still should probably go get involved. Then the perfect kind of time came up. My missus was getting at me saying that we probably needed to build another car and get back involved and do some racing. And that's exactly what we did. I've predominantly been German chassis, BMWs over the years with like V8s and the standard inline 6s and M3 engines, but we've gone completely opposite with this now, where we've ended up going S chassis with a 6-cylinder JZ engine. Again, that was more the missus' decision. She was like, do something cool, do an S chassis. We went to have a look at a couple. We looked at some PS13s and an S13. None really stood out, and then on the way back from viewing a PS, this came up as a bare shell. So it was just an S14A bare shell. Owner had took it apart and was lovingly putting it back together, but like most projects, come to a close sometimes, and it sat for 6 years. We'd done all the rust prep on it, and just got a cage put in it, and it was then just completely left. It was just boxes of bits. We went and picked it up, and it was 5 months, start to finish. So bit of a wild 5 months. Mrs. helped me with a lot of like the chassis prep and all the early stages of it. And then, to be fair, once the engine and box went in, these cars kind of go together quite as a Meccano. There's not anything too drastic on this that's different. Yeah. But the initial early stages of the chassis prep was the main core of it. We made the tunnel wider, tunnel bigger to take the bigger box, and a few more tunes added, the frameworks around it. So yeah.
No, it was a quick build for the 5 months that you were doing it, wasn't it?
Well, we say it ended up, it was painted the day before it came to you, and it's still in primer in some places. Yeah. And then it was wrapped the day after. Yeah. And then I think we went testing the day after that.
But it's worked, hasn't it? And
very much. It's driven on the trailer after every event.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for more, really.
No.
So okay, let's take a look around the car. The exterior bits that you've got on, you've obviously got like a few different bumpers, side skirts. Big fat wing on the back there.
Yeah, so they've all been a mixed match. Can't ask me directly what each one is because it's all came from so many different places. A lot of the car came with some bits, so it's a mixture of like D-Max, HM Sport, and HT components from Ireland. The wing is like IceFab uprights with a Country Lab style. We just recently put the roof wing on. I'm not very style enthused. I'm the boring one. I might function over style. So the missus who's kind of pushed me towards making the car look a lot more aggressive and not necessarily stance, but like wider and angrier looking with the bigger canards and stuff like that. I like the way it looks now, and then next year we're hoping to go a bit wider and a bit more on steroids.
Okay, so that's the exterior. Now we're going to pop the hood and see what's underneath.
American, pop the hood.
Pop the hood, see how he spent his $10,000.
And the rest.
Okay, so Mr. IceFab, what is this?
Brief rundown, so it's a 1JZ GTE turbo engine out of the Toyota Sora. It came as a complete stock long block bought off a friend. We were intending to just fit it as it is and leave it basically just stock, just do rod bolts and bearings. But we ended up pulling the head off it, found a little bit of damage inside the engine where, we don't know the story of the engine originally. From there then, phoned up Luke, Tegiwa, and we basically just bought the catalogue of bits that goes into making this a fully forged engine. So brief rundown, it's like Brian Crowler, everything valve assembly, power division billet cams, and then block-wise, it's stock block with standard main caps, but it's got ARP everything, ACL bearing everything. It's Brian Crowler, HB rods, and JE slightly higher compression forged pistons. And then again, another supplier from you guys is Garrett and Turbo Smart, so Turbo Smart Hyper Gate, and then we went with a G30 900 Turbo.
Cool. And you've got bigger cams in there as well, right?
Yeah, so 262 power divisions. They're not super big, but the billet cams, and as I keep saying to you and everybody else, I have to mention them because they were very expensive for billet. So it's got billet cams in it. And then a lot of the other kind of like accessories around it is very just standard to Toyota. Don't have to change a great deal. These engines are fantastic, they just work. And as I say, the only change that we're looking to make going into next year is the rest of the grid are running big power like Ian and Paul and everybody like that. We'd like to try and catch up. So we're going to go G35 1050 next year and try and get it closer up around the 700-800 horsepower mark. At the minute it's running like 700 crank.
Wow.
So, but yeah, and then again from you guys, Haltech everything. So ECU and management, PD16, PDM, so no relays, no fuses, and then 2500 ECU Elite. It's been amazing. Like it's just you just fit and forget. We had Phil at XDR do all the wiring on it. Good friend of mine again, and wiring wise, you see loads of people with gremlins in the pits, and it's always something like you see like a car not go for a run for the smallest, tiniest thing. This we've not had a single electrical issue all year.
Yeah, reliability has not really been an issue, has it, this season for you?
No. It's for a car that we built in 5 months. It's gone out and done very well. And the one thing I do say to everybody, although maybe my driving hasn't been there quite up to spec where it could have been, the car's driven on the trailer after every event. Yeah. So it's done as well.
And then, so your cooling package as well, we've got up here, obviously, you're Mr. IceFab.
Yeah,
Talk me through this.
So only a quick one. So this is a very quick rendition. We've done 4 renditions so far. It sounds mad. Every time we go to an event, we seem to change the radiators, and it's not because it isn't working, it's because that's what we do. And the idea was I wanted to kind of learn, relative to this engine, how changes like multipass in the rad, bigger on the core, different brand on the core, on the intercore side of things. So we've continually kept changing it because it's fairly low expense on my end, but it's good for me to pass on to customers then. So when people are having direct the same issues, I can go, this will work because I've tried it in this manner.
So this is almost like a development shop car in
Very
a way.
much so, yeah. So as I say, and you touch on it again, so it's going to have its winter rebuild. That rad's actually going to get pulled out, and we're going to go radiator in the rear. Yeah. So then we've basically done everything. We've done small rad, multipass small rad, big rad, multipass big rad, rear rad. Yeah. So we've got every single ground sorted on this car then.
Nice. And what gearbox are you using? What's it the 1J mated to?
So standard, they come to R154s as far and they're just getting rare and they don't shift very well. My BMW roots, so we ended up putting a 330D E46 BMW diesel gearbox in this. It shouldn't hold the power, but it magically has, and we've done basically the whole season on this gearbox so far. But where we do feel like we're lacking a little bit is the rest of the grids have gone to sequentials, dog boxes. So we have just invested and bought a Gear Motive 4-speed H-pattern dog box for this. Nice. We're going to try and get it in before the last round, just to give it a test before we pull it all apart again.
I suppose one of the advantages of using a 330D box from the E46 is they're just cheap and readily available, aren't they?
Cheap, readily available. Well, how many cars? I know 46s are getting rare on the road now because more modern cars are coming through, but how many did they make? They made thousands. Yeah. So finding one isn't hard. Yeah. But then I haven't had to find one either because this one's been stout.
Just work.
Yeah.
So what diff is it? Have you upgraded the diff?
Yeah. So it's again, it's a bit of a, like, we want to try use parts that are available, so we don't necessarily need the most expensive stuff. It's got a standard S14 subframe in, but it's got mounts to carry a 350Z diff. The 350Z diffs seem to be a lot larger in casing against the standard Nissan stuff, S14 stuff anyways. And because it's Nissan, they didn't seem to change the splines on the outers, the hub. So the 350Z shafts fit as well, and they're way bigger. So it's basically a 350Z in the rear end for different shafts. Okay. And again, we've not broke anything to do with that.
One question I have is, why do drifters feel the need to change, like, well, there's that, but like the engine combo? So you see so many, like, I don't know, R33s with like a 2J in them. Like
the opposites.
Yeah. Why a 1J?
I think the sport of drifting's brilliant because of that reason. It's like unlimited. We're not really told what we can and can't do. There's a few rules within just safety aspect, which we all have to apply to. But engine and driveline, we're just left alone. So I'd like the best way to say that is do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And the best example of this is me personally as a driver. I've driven JZs, but I've never had a JZ. And I've never done S chassis either. As a chassis itself, it's always been BMs and mostly V8s. To say it was my partner getting involved, who was like doing S chassis, and it was me that was like, I'd love to do a JZ. And these two kind of go well together, Toyota, Nissan. And it kind of looks right in there as well.
Yeah,
they don't look too obscure. They look a bit long, but
yeah, and it's bulletproof as well, like you say.
They are really stout. This thing's been mega.
Yeah.
Considering it was put together in such a short time.
Good. Okay, so moving on to the suspension then. You've got a crazy set of Yellow Speed Racing coilovers.
Yeah, so they were prototype ones initially that we did. Paul's also got a set, Paul Cunnington, on his S15. I remember when we were initially asked at the start of the year by Luke, would we want to drive for yellowspeedcoilovers.co.uk? He says, can you run a set of their new suspension and give them a test? We've had them on all year. The funniest thing is we've done very little adjustments to them because kind of out the box they worked. The hardest thing we're finding at the minute is honestly we're making so much grip, which sounds like a weird negative, but it's because most of the tracks I've been on in the early years were like go-kart tracks, so the asphalt wasn't really good. When we're now driving on Brands, Alton, Snet and stuff like that, the tarmac's so good, and the tyre that we're on is actually producing a lot of grip on there. Yeah. We're trying to take grip out of the rest of the car because it wants to go so fast in a straight line. But it's been mega, and my perfect world is when we add more power, this thing's going to be a rocket. Yeah. You've took photos of it with the cocking wheels. Yeah. It's always lifted an inside wheel.
Yeah, for sure.
It's trying to wheel. Right, yeah. So, yeah, the suspension's been mega.
Cool. And you've also got like WiseFab top mounts.
WiseFab full everything. So it's not WiseFab rear, it's just adjustable rear and everything, but it's WiseFab lock kit. Yeah. So drifting, standard cars, maybe 35, 30 degrees of lock. This has closer to 70. So, double. It looks like a forklift probably turning straight lines, doesn't it? And that's all just so we can obviously put the car where it needs to be on track. But yeah, it's made the car very wide. I need to get my fitment better. That's what we're going to get some better arches in the new season. But yeah, and then last of all, brakes. Yeah, big one. We've got to get a shot of the rears as well because the rears look sick. But again, Yellow Speed came on board. First round, we really struggled with braking. I had the stock brakes with some stock tech pads and stuff. The stock tech pads helped, but it's a big 6-cylinder iron block. It's hard to stop this car. It's fast at times. So spoke to Yellow Speed. Luke got in touch and we ended up having probably the nastiest set of brakes on the grid. Yeah. Probably more than the Time Attack lads. Yeah. So it's got 6-pot fronts with the big disc and floating disc, and then the rear's the same, but we've got twin 4-pots. One's individual for the handbrake, the rest is on the foot brake. Yeah. So savage brakes.
On the back.
It looks sick, doesn't it? It's a good advertisement for him, so I'm pleased that we did it. Yeah. I nearly didn't. I nearly said, we'll just run the one set and just run it in line. Yeah. And then we ended up putting both ones like that. Looks sick.
Yeah, it's game changer that one.
Exactly,
what wheels have you got? And obviously tyres. You use different tyres, different
front to rear. Yeah. So we don't tend to change because on the series that we're doing with MSV, we have to run that rear tyre, which is a Zestino. It's just like a 180 treadwear drift specific tyre. Fronts, they're open. We can run what we want. I just don't think we can run a full slick, but nobody's silly enough to in our drifting game because we don't get our tyres hot. We pretty much go for a run, and it's flat out from the mark. So at the minute, I've always run these tyres. They're just a remold Maxi Sport RB5s, and then wheel wise, I wish I could say I had a better wheel game, but wheels are expensive and we need so many. So I think we have like 12 spares that we carry. These are just XXRs. They look all right to me. A few other people like to give me a bit of slander on them, but they suit the car and they're actually quite light. Yeah,
they're not silly if they work, are they?
My opinion is the round and the older black tyres that we make
smoke with. Yeah, but you need like 12, 16 of the thing. So.
Yeah, it gets expensive quick. I'd love to say next year we'll probably put a bit of money into some show wheels. Yeah. And get some nice wheels from you guys, some Forges or something like that. And have a set of show wheels, but we'll get around to that next year.
When you got the car, did it have an interior, Andy?
It was just a bare shell. It was literally just a shell on dollies. Yeah. We had to dolly it onto the trailer even. So there wasn't anything to even add, and I wasn't going to start buying expensive S chassis interior bits now when they're not really available. So that's why it's just an aluminium panel for the main dashboard, and then the rest is just it's race cars, isn't it? Like, you don't want this stuff because it makes it harder to maintain. This is all so we can check for leaks and see if there's anything wrong. If you need to get it, anything like the ECU, the PDM, it's all there, ready to go. Dash is all there, ready to go. Any of the other like added plugs for the canvas stuff, it's all in your face.
Yeah.
If it is that you're in like a crunch, you want to be able to get straight to it. So when you start hiding stuff under dashboards or in glove boxes, it just becomes harder.
Yeah.
So
no frills, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And this is just bare minimum. That's all it needs to be.
Yeah. So what are the seats that you've got in there?
These were ones. I think these were passed down from. We had a really silly car. We had a car with a bike engine in, a Corsa, and this car was effectively going to be the build, like a cheap build. So I used a lot of stuff I already had on the shelf, but Cobras, motorsport seats, wrap around for the drivers because we have to for specs. And then I just had another Cobra by chance that was on the shelf that was ready to go for the passenger. Not really got any need or want to really change them as such, but I know you guys make sell some really nice seats. So potentially I might look at getting another new set with maybe some embroidery in or something.
Nice. That'd be different.
Yeah.
And then big fat handbrake.
Yeah, so IRP handbrake and then IRP short shifter. Just really nice, decent bits, known in the drift world for just... A lot of this stuff isn't even that expensive. It's just really nicely made and made abroad. So yeah, just big one for me to pull on when I'm entering the corners and making adjustments. And the shifter, we don't do a lot of shifts, but it's nice to have one that's really engaging. And that's going to work with the new dog box as well, which is nice.
Oh, nice. Cool. And then you've got your Haltech screen as well. That tells you everything you need to know, I guess.
That's it, yeah.
Straight in your face.
Yeah, and one thing I'm going to try to do over the off-season is definitely get better on the software side of things with the Haltech, because I had Greg at Pro Tuner who's mapped the car, and we haven't really done anything or touched it since. I'd like to look at maybe changing some displays and moving some things around and maybe making a nice load screen with IceFab and stuff like that. So, but yeah, everything's there. Yeah. We haven't even had time to play with it this year, so next year, hopefully the car will be even more developed.
So I can see a fire extinguisher down here. We've obviously got like a pretty serious cage in there. What kind of safety bits have you got in here to meet the specs?
So we effectively just have to follow MSV Blue Book, the same as majority of the time attack lads do. We have a couple of little criteria that are different because drifting is different as a sport, but predominantly safety is all the same. So at minimum it's a 6-point cage, and this is just a TIG welded T45, so it's nice and lightweight. We've got a plumbed-in fire extinguisher with added points to the driver, to the engine, to the fuel cell, everywhere where potentially fire could be. We've got a handheld as well, which we've just had to add. And then the rest is just like safety cut-offs, like we've got electric cut-offs on the exterior. Again, all done through. I'm used to the old school pull cord stuff. With the Haltech, we can do it all as canvas, just push button, which has really helped and made the car even cleaner. So, but yeah, but it sounds basic, but these are the necessities because at the end of the day, it's a serious sport with serious speed and serious accidents can happen. So safety is primarily the aspect, and then we build the cars after. So.
Okay, so that pretty much sums up the video.
Yep.
The car's gonna, evolve even more from what you're saying.
Off season it should be. Everything's there, it just wants all refining now, which is what we've learned through the year. Yeah. But it's been a brilliant year for it because we just cracked on and the car's not missed a beat. Yeah. So we know what we need to do now.
Nice. What are the plans for next year? Obviously you spoke about the engine and stuff, but you got any other plans for it?
They've just provisionally released the new calendar for MSV. There's a couple of events on there that I don't really want to miss. So I think we're going to go in and go do another year, especially as the car's evolved and I've actually got 12 months in the seat now. And then another big thing as well, I want my partners to drive it as well. I've done so much driving over the years, I almost want to see her also jump in it and be on the outside of it. And I don't know, just help her do a bit of drifting with this car and evolve from that as well. I wish I could have jumped straight into a car like this. Yeah. So it's kind of cool to do that with her.
It's good that you've built it and you're not too worried and you're using it to have fun in.
Yeah, I'll be honest, gone are the days where I'm super, super competitive. I don't want to say given the right opportunity on the event, I won't try for win. I am a competitive person, but I'm more over fun than anything now. We're there for the crack.
Yeah.
So long as we can keep doing these really cool events, we get loads of fans, loads of spectators. We feel ace doing them, and it's kind of why we build them, because any drifter that says there isn't a show off is a liar.
Yeah.
The whole reason why we do it is because we want to show off the car and show off what we do.
Why else would you need like 1,000 horsepower sort of thing?
Literally, that's all. That's why the car's going to get it this year. So like next year, it's going to be bigger power because it doesn't need it. Do I want it? Yeah. So
It's getting it.
yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for coming down, Andy.
Yeah, it's cool.
Pleasure as always. When can we next catch you in action?
So we'll next be out at Snetterton for the final round of Time Attack. It's just a single dayer. And then I've got one more event then with the missus where we're at Matsuri, which is Drift Matsuri in Anglesey, which is just a fun event. If anybody wants to come down to either of them, it's great. You can either catch the full-on motorsport racing at Snet or just a fun like drift culture event in Anglesey.
Lovely. And where can people find you on socials if they want to follow you?
Just say that stuff. That's why I say follow Teg. No, but ideally, realistically, if you want to follow, I've got a Facebook, which is IceFab Bespoke Fabrications. A little bit of this car goes on there, but predominantly it's like what I'm making cooler-wise, which I would really appreciate if anybody wanted to follow that and share some of the work, because that's generally our network. It's people seeing what I've made and go from there. But I have got an Instagram as well, which is Andy IceFab, but I don't do a lot on that.
Cool. And I'm going to bring this question back, because I always forget. What's your favourite takeaway, Andy?
What's the favourite takeaway? Oh, that's hard. Depends on the mood.
You got to pick one.
I'll probably say Chinese.
Nice. Great choice. So, yeah. Thank you again, Andy, for bringing it down. Make sure you drop him a follow. His work is, second to none. Like and subscribe for the video. Check us out on our socials. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
Bye.